All right, welcome my Virgilian scholars. I just want to do a brief video of a few lines here just to get us prepped for tomorrow's class. So we're in the midst of Anna, who is Dido's sister, kind of being both angry and sad at the same time. She said, was that this, sister? Were you begging me by deceit? And then, this idea that was that funeral pyre preparing this for me? Were the flames and altars preparing this mihi for me? And then we ended on quid primum deserta querar. Remember, querar is first singular future, and then the quid is the accusative direct object interrogative. So what will I complain about? Primum, first, deserta, having been perfectly passively participially like abandoned or deserted. So that's stuff we already did yesterday, and then we'll pick up with this material here, starting with comite. It's kind of sloppy. Starting with comi temne sororem sbrevisti moriens. So the NE obviously is this interrogative enclitic. Verb being, if we're hunting for verbs, is going to be the sbrevisti. This is actually the same verb that was used by Hera or Juno earlier on, or the narrator talking about Hera, about like her spurned beauty, right? You remember this verb? So here it's Anna asking Dido in the second person, have you, moriens, nominative singular feminine, modifying the subject you, which is Dido in the verb, right? Have you dying spurned or rejected sororem, your sister, comitem, as an attendant, as a friend? That's the same noun. This is the same noun. Earlier on, remember we had comites aspicion, the attendant see. So it's an interesting use of the word there. So that question should be something like, have you dying, moriens, present active participle, have you dying spurned or rejected your sister as a comitem, as an attendant, as a friend? Now the next thing we're looking at is very, very interesting, and pay particular note of this. Vocaces to licep. Both of these are pluperfect subjunctives by themselves. Pluperfect subjunctives by themselves, which is a very interesting use. And what they're actually called are called optatives. They're called optatives. Normally you have like utinam preceding them, like if only, would that. Here I think the best translation would be if only or would that. Either one of those is okay, right? So here you have vocaces, pluperfect subjunctive active second singular. If only you had called. If only you had called actively, right? Subjunctive. And again, this is a new thing. We'll talk about it tomorrow. They're optative. So pluperfect subjunctives by themselves are almost always optative. Would that, if only you had called me, accusative me, where ad eadem fata, to the same fates. Remember, this pluralization's a little bit weird here, right? It's accusative, plural, neuter, object of ad. If only you had called me to the same fate. So this is Anna saying, like, listen, I would have died with you. I love you so much. You're my sister. Why'd you keep this secret from me? And then we have another optative, to licet, now in the third singular. So we have to find the subject. And the subject is going to be... idem ora, the same hour. The same, the same suffering, the same pain, and the same hour. Again, remember we have this like number thing that's going on here. This is singular, even though this is a subject. and this is a subject. So if only the same nominative dolor, the same nominative pain or suffering, and the same eadem ora hour had brought ambas, us both, had borne us both. Ambas, accusative plural, like amphibian or ambidextrous means both. Both hands. Ferro, by the sword. Ferro, ablative of means. So if we were to translate this, these two optatives, if only you had called me to the same fates, literally plural. If only the same, so all the kind of light salmony color stuff is subjects, right? Idem dolor, eadem ora. If only the same dolor, the same suffering, atque en, the same hour had brought both by the sword, meaning both. Look at its feminine plural, ambas, meaning Dido and Anna, both feminine, accusative singular. She's meaning, if only, I would have done this with you, right? If only, I had stabbed myself with you. If only, you had called me to the same fate, right? Why did you keep this hidden from me? And then if we move on here, she says the next verb, vocavi. She says, I have called, etiam, even. And another verb, struxi. We know that from quid struis. Same verb, right? He's not, meaning Virgil, is not using this by accident, right? I have built up, and there's no real direct object, but we'd assume it's the rogum, right? Or the hulk. I have contrived, his manibus, with these hands. These are ablative of means, right? I have even built up with these hands. And I have vocavi, I have called the patrios, the patriarchs, the fathers, the fathers, or the patrios deos, right? So if we look down here, let's scroll down here. What do we get here? They give us anything here? I have called the patrios, the maybe you could use this as like an adjective, right? The gods of the country, right? The patriotic gods. Does that make sense? Yeah. The patriotic god, voce, by voice. Thus sick. Thus I am absent. Thus, with this ablative absolute. Sorry, this is pretty a little bit complex, right? So this is an ablative absolute, te posita, with you having been perfectly passively placed in such a way, so that I had been absent, I had been away. I hadn't been here, oh vocative cruel one. Notice the use of crudelis. Who was called crudelis earlier? Aeneas. So now Anna is calling Dido crudelis. Earlier, Dido had been calling Aeneas crudelis, right? Dardanos crudelis, hauriat. Let the cruel Dardanian drink in. Okay, so let me give you a clean translation, and then we'll do maybe like one or two more lines. I don't want to keep this too long here. Okay, so starting with komi temne, right? So we're starting up here. So for this sentence, we would translate as, have you spurned have you dying, you dying, the present, the nominative subject dying, have you dying spurned or abandoned, whatever, have you spurned your sororem, sister, as a friend? Voka says, to licet, both optatives, right? Pluperfect subjunctives by themselves. Would that you have called, if only you had called me, accusative me, to the same fates. And then to licet, another optative. Would that the same idem dolor, the same pain, and the same hour had carried both, ambas, meaning me and you, feminine plural, Dido and Anna, had called both by the sword. Meaning she was willing to die with her sister, right? But her sister had concealed this from her. I even built, struxi, same verb as quid struis, right? That famous line that I love so much when Mercury asks Aeneas quid struis. She says, this is first person singular Anna, I even built, i.e. the Rogos, with these ablative hands. And I have called the homeland gods, the patriotic gods, the patrios, modifying the deos. What type of gods? They're like the native gods. That's probably a great way to put it. I have called the native gods, voce, by ablative voice. And then this gets a little bit weird. Te posita. With you having been perfectly, passively, ablative, absolutely placed sick in such a way so that, result clause, the result is I had been absent, obsessem, pluperfect subjunctive, vocative, crudelis. I'm going to leave it at that to not overwhelm you with like too long of a video. We'll do the rest tomorrow. It's basically the rest of Dido's quote and then the rest of Anna's quote and then what Anna does afterwards. Hopefully this makes it a little bit more understandable and intelligible to you. And obviously I'll see you 5th period tomorrow and we'll be able to discuss it and I'll ask you questions and all that stuff. All right, stay safe, wash your hands, practice social distancing. Hopefully I see you sooner rather than later. Valete omnes valete. Atque bono